everyone. Just making sure that you can see my screen okay, and we will go on. As I said, thank you very much again for joining us this evening, and also I greatly appreciate everyone being able to adjust their schedules to allow me to change the date. On the phone with us this evening is myself, your venue director, Russell Lyons, who is your assistant venue director, Lauren Andrews, who is your head tabulator, Mike Sarnowski, our senior sports director with Special Olympics, and Nick Anderson, who is a regional director with Special Olympics and our liaison for our cheerleading venue. Alrighty, our agenda for this evening is welcome. We will go over competition information. We'll go over a few rules of emphasis, the venue map, general competition schedule, transportation, some additional summer games, and questions and comments. If possible, if you could hold your questions to the end, that would be great, but if not, feel free to ask us a question during the webinar by pressing *6 on your phone to unmute. Going into competition information. Our competition date is Friday, June the 5th. We are offering the events of traditional team competition as well as unified team competition. The competition time will run approximately from 10:30 a.m. to 3 o'clock p.m. Our location remains at the Towson Center at Towson University. And you know who I am, your competition director, and Russell Lyons. Your head rules officials for the competition will be Russell Lyons, who is your assistant competition director, Ann Lemar, who is a certified panel judge. Greg Collins will serve as our certified safety and panel judge. Our national governing body rules are the National Federation of State High School Association, where you can find, if you have any questions regarding those rules, at the website listed. And we will use the USASF rules for the Special Needs Comp Division for the Elite Division only. I'm excited to say that we have 11 teams and 150 competitors. Team registration. I wanted to make sure that everyone does understand this thoroughly. Team registration opens at 10:30 a.m. The head coach of the team must sign in and register your team. Very important. Athletes do not need to be present at time of registration. Communicate any additional scratches at registration. Athletes and partners must arrive 30 minutes prior to their scheduled warm-ups. There will be no alterations to the warm-up schedule due to an athlete or partner not being present. If an athlete or partner is not present by the designated on-deck schedule, that athlete or partner will be scratched from the competition at this time. Athletes and partners will be counted and rosters confirmed. Everyone should know this by now, but no additional athletes or unified partners could be added to the roster at this time. Any athlete or unified partner who was not entered in the competitive event after the deadline of May 18th were deleted from the summer games. At the time of registration, you will receive a delegation package, which will include a copy of the competition schedule, venue map, cheergram to be filled out and returned at registration. The only cheergram that will be read is from the head coach while your team is taking the mat. All other cheergrams will be delivered throughout the competition. General music for the venue will be provided by our professional DJ that we had last year. Team music must be on a CD. We do recommend that you have 2 copies with you, as well as a copy for your warm-ups if necessary. Please do not record your music on CDRWs, as some of them will not play on all sound systems. Music check will be from 10:30 a.m. to 11 a.m. Please do not leave your team's music with the DJ. Delegation is responsible for cueing their music during competition. The DJ will not hit play or stop. The coach or volunteer designated to play your music must remain at the sound station throughout the entire routine. It is their responsibility to play, and stop at the appropriate times. All music recorded for competition must be edited to accommodate the routine. The DJ will not accept requests for fast forwarding, pitch, speed controls, fades in or out. Head coaches meeting. This will be at 10:50 a.m. We will hold it in the center of the mat. At this time, we will provide you with any last-minute information. You will also have the opportunity to meet the safety deduction judge. This is not the time to go over division requirements and or technical stunting questions. The safety deduction judge will address basic safety violations and basic competition questions. Warm-ups. Warm-ups will be from 11 a.m. till 11:30 a.m. A specific and strict schedule for the team warm-up rotations will be followed utilizing the competition and the warm-up mats. This is different from last year. We will use both the competition mat and the warm-up area as in the past. Please refer to the competition schedule for your warm-up time and location. This is where we are saying that your athletes do not need to be present at 10:30 unless their warm-up time is 11 a.m. Proper spotting techniques are mandatory, and a minimum of 2 spotters must be presented on the mat and must be provided by the team at all times. This includes your practice and warm-up times. All practice sessions during the day of competition must be supervised by a coach and held only in designated locations and times specified. Tumbling and stunting is not permitted on any concrete or other hard surface. This is a safety violation. Safety deductions will occur, and your team may be disqualified. It is extremely important. There were a few incidents during the qualifier that it was observed that teams were practicing other than in the designated warm-up areas. This is not allowed. We will provide a CD player by the venue. This will be for the warm-up area. The DJ will be used for the competition mat. Competition etiquette. Please go over this with your families. We ask that they do not walk on the competition mat or behind the judges. Please follow the foot traffic patterns. We ask that you please refrain from clapping until each team has completed their entire routine. As you are aware, some teams are being timed during the competition. Please again stress this with your parents. We are all very excited about the accomplishments of our athletes, but clapping, etc., will throw them off during the routine and could cause you timing errors. Cellular phones should be turned to the off or placed on the vibrate mode while seated in a competition performance area during competition and awards, please. Cell phone usage, we ask that you please limit it to the lobby area of the venue. For the safety of all, keep all aisles, hallways, and stairwells clear and do not block the emergency exits. When I show you the map, there'll be an area that will not be utilized, so it's very, very important that we keep all areas open. Again, we appreciate your enthusiasm. However, while the athletes are performing, please refrain from excessive noise and movement in the performance areas, including the bleacher seating. We will stop people from moving while your athletes are competing out of respect for the athlete. Lunch will be served from 11:30 to 12:30. Official delegates only will receive a box lunch. That is your athletes, coaches, partners, and registered delegates. We will not be providing lunches for families. Distribution will be the coach's discretion. Competition will not be stopped, meaning when the lunches arrive, we highly recommend that you designate 2 to 3 individuals to collect the lunches for your delegation. Competition will go on. We're not going to have a break just for lunch. cheergrounds, we briefly spoke about these. You can please encourage your parents to send them to their athlete or their team. They're just a quick note of encouragement. There will be a table set up at the registration to fill them out. The cheergrams from the head coach, again, will be the only cheergram read while your team is taking the mat. All others will be delivered by our escorts throughout the day. Welcome in ceremonies. If your athlete, partner, or coach has been selected for your county to recite an oath or pledge of allegiance, we ask that you please report to the Master of Ceremonies podium by 11:50 a.m. If necessary, if you need to have a volunteer, a registered volunteer to stay with your athlete until it is their turn to recite their oath or pledge, that is fine. Please just communicate that to me via email. Awards will be presented at the conclusion of the competition, and we will have the athletes come to the competition mat. Once the awards have been given, results will be posted in the lobby of the Towson Theater. They will be posted by Lauren, our head tabulator. As a reminder, Towson University is a smoke-free campus. Please refrain from using any lighted tobacco products on campus during the 2015 Special Olympics Summer Games as a whole, not just our competition. Before I move on to rules of emphasis, I will stop for a moment if anyone would like to unmute their phone and have a question regarding any of the things that I've just gone over. Hearing none, I will move on. Our special rules of emphasis for general competition. Special Olympics Maryland Cheerleading Competition Guide and the Special Olympics Maryland Rules and Guidelines will govern our competition and the Summer Games. Special Olympics Maryland has adopted the safety guidelines and rules developed by the National Federation of State High School Association. And again, we will use the USASF rules for the Special Needs Competition Division for the Elite Division only. If there is a conflict between those rules, the Special Olympics cheerleading sports rules will be used. In such case, the official Special Olympics cheerleading sports rules shall apply. You guys do a great job of this, but just as a reminder, coaches are not allowed on the floor during the performance of any routine. This rule will be enforced for all divisions. Spotters are permitted on the floor, but cannot coach the squad. Coaches, you may place your athletes in the proper position on the floor, but may not be on the floor once the performance begins. Individuals assisting in the placement or movement of an athlete's wheelchair or walker during competition must be registered with Special Olympics Maryland. Once the athlete is in place, please ensure that your assistant stands with their hands at their sides and cannot relay any verbal or physical cues. Individuals assisting as a permanent spotter for an athlete, again, must be registered with Special Olympics Maryland. During competition, the spotter must stand with hands at their sides and cannot relay any verbal or physical cues. However, protecting the athlete from falling, etc., will not be a scoring deduction. Russell, do you have any additional information or clarification for those last two rules that you would like to state?
No, again, these are not your spotters that are required for the advanced and elite divisions. These are separate assistants that are dedicated to an athlete just to prevent them from falling if they suffer from seizures or things of the like, or if they are in a wheelchair and need assistance moving from formation to formation. They are not your spotters that are required. So that's all.
Thank you, Russell.
Yep.
Please remind your athletes when approaching the mat that first your division and team name will be announced, and we ask that your athletes remain at the edge of the mat and come onto the mat when the Master of Ceremonies invites them to the mat, such as Tigers, you may take the mat. Scoring and policy for one squad divisions. We do have a few one squad divisions. A gold medal is not an automatic. The squad or individual must score within 20% of the maximum judges' points. 5 judges, and you automatically drop the lowest and the highest score to receive first place. If the squad does not score within 20% of the maximum points, second place will be awarded. Jewelry and nails. Jewelry is prohibited during competition. Even those little plastic braces, the little rubber braces that may have something on them in support of someone, those are considered jewelry and can get caught during stunting. Medical alert bracelets or necklaces are not considered jewelry. If they are worn, we ask that you please tape these to the athlete's body so that the medical alert information remains visible for the medical staff. Nails should be trimmed and no polish should be worn. I wanted to step back for just a moment. There was a recommendation that had came from the qualifier regarding your 5 minutes of warm-ups. The competition committee has discussed it, and we are going to give the teams 2 minutes to set their athletes before their warm-up time starts. I just wanted to let everyone know that because I know at times it can take a little bit of time to get your athletes set in your first position so that they can appropriately practice the routine. Before I move on, are there any questions about the information that we've just gone over? If so, please press *6 and to unmute your phone.
Yeah, I want to touch on that 2 minutes real quick, Anna.
Certainly.
That 2 minutes to get your athletes placed on the floor does not mean that if you get them placed in 10 seconds that you gain an extra minute and 50 seconds of warm-up time. The volunteers that will be there to time warm-ups will know to check with you, and as soon as you tell them you are ready, that's when your 5 minutes begins. So do not, just so that everyone's clear, if you see one team that gets set very quickly and they're not getting a bunch of added time for warm-ups, okay? So we're allowing you up to 2 minutes, but if it only takes you 20 seconds, you're only getting that 20 seconds. That's all.
Thank you for that clarification, Russell. What you have before you right now is a campus map. It shows all of the venues. However, cheerleading is down here at the bottom where you see cheerleading. This is the Towson Town Center. This is lot 21 here. For opening ceremonies, this is the CQ Arena right here. This is where your opening ceremonies will happen, and this is lot 21 here where the block party and staging for opening ceremonies will be. Here is our venue map. As I had said earlier, this area right here is will not be used at all during the cheerleading competition and also throughout the summer games. When you enter in from lot 21, here's your main entrance. Your team check-in table will be directly there for you to check in your team. This will also be utilized as our control center. Volunteers and families will be here in this area, and also the cheergrams will be in this area as well. As you proceed through, this is your bathrooms areas here, and you will be entering into competition. Here is where your lunch will be. Medical staff will position directly close to the podium. Your competition mats will remain in the same area. Your judges table, and the DJ is actually much closer than it appears here to the competition mat. We will have specific team seating where we will have your delegation's names on the bleachers. We do ask that if you have athletes that are in wheelchairs, that you please leave the first row open for those individuals. The parents and spectators will then be in these two areas. It's important that only the athletes and registered delegates for your team be seated in the seating area. I know that our parents love to come, we would love to come over, etc. But for control and ease of movement of our athletes, we ask you to please have your parents please remain in the spectator seating area. We do plan on having stanchions around the competition mat before competition starts to aid in preventing people from walking across them. We made this improvement last year where you see that you will be able to walk in a circle and be able to go behind the bleachers in this area here so that there is ease of traffic flow for everyone to walk through. This area here will be for volunteers and judges and tabulation only. If you, in needing to enter this area, please speak to myself or Russell. We will have a water station here at this warm-up area, and I am also will have water close to the competition mat for after your warm-up area. This will still be an access for an emergency in the event that we would need to exit the building. I would like to compliment all of you and your athletes of how well everything went when we did have the activation of the fire alarm during the qualifier. Please communicate to your parents that in the event that an emergency should occur, that you and your volunteers will move the athletes out, and we will ask them to meet them outside. Here's your general competition schedule, and this is the only one that I missed changing the date on. It is June the 5th, not June the 6th. I do apologize for that. Again, team registration and music check will occur between 10:30 and 11. Your head coaches meeting will be at the center of the mat at 10:50. We don't expect it to take more than 10 minutes. Lunch will be 11:30 to 12:30. We will have a brief welcoming ceremony at 12 and should not take more than 15 minutes. And very excited that Calvert County will be starting off our competition with a demonstration of their pom squad. And then as you can see, you have your designated warm-up times, your on deck, and the expected time to compete. Please remember, as we all know, this is our schedule. We try very hard to stick to it, but unfortunately, occasionally a few things may come up here and there, but generally competition does run on schedule. Directly after our last competing squad, Calvert County will also be demonstrating a hip-hop dance. You may recall last year that we had a short dance program that was demonstrating the more theatrical dancers. We do have one young lady that will be coming by to do a dance solo. The Regal All-Stars will be entertaining us with a very high-action performance directly after that, and then we will move into the awards ceremonies. I'm not planning to have the athletes come down to the mat for any particular just dance time. We would do that in the event that things might be running a little bit late, but hopefully that won't be happening, that we will remain on schedule. Transportation and parking. There will be limited parking available in Lot 21. Does someone have something to say? Okay, great. There will be limited parking available in Lot 21. It is going to be a first-come, first-served basis. The shuttle buses will be running from Lots 13 and 14 to Lot 21 for our cheerleading competition. In the event athletes are staying on campus, the shuttle starts at 10 a.m. and does pick up in front of the towers and in front of the Towson towers for delegations staying in the Packard dormitory. That is something different this year. And again, parking is available on Lot 21. Transportation is by shuttle bus with designated stops at the sports venues, dorms, and other primary stops throughout the campus. Shuttles will run on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Most Towson University buses do have wheelchair lifts if required. These buses will run on the 3 days as well. If your delegation has a special on-campus need for a paratransit, please contact the number that is listed on the slide at least 20 minutes in advance of your planned departure to allow the bus to arrive in a timely manner. Some additional summer games information. Here is a master schedule. I am not going to read all of that for you. You can definitely read it for yourself, but mainly on Friday it reflects our competition time, when lunch will begin. Families Hospitalities will be there serving their smoothies again this year. If your athletes are staying on campus, dinner will be from 4 to 6. The block party starts at 5. Merchandise will be available for sale as well, beginning at 5. And then the coaches' meetings you see listed there for the other sports that will be coming onto campus. We will begin staging the athletes at 6:30 for the parade and the opening ceremonies at CQ. And then the torch lighting will be outside again this year. It was quite spectacular last year. I did have the opportunity to see that. This is the schedule for Saturday. You'll be able to read through that for the other venues. Just a few things I'd like to point out for you. Healthy athletes. This is a great opportunity for athletes. I highly recommend, if your athletes aren't participating in other sports, that they come and stop in and see Healthy Athletes. They have all types of screening, wonderful information. Again, you can purchase merchandise and also have them come back for the Olympic Park and dance. It is a great experience for your athletes. That will be held at the Towson Town Center. And we have a new thing this evening. Softball will be having an evening game. Towson has this beautiful new stadium, and they will be showcasing a softball game that evening. And then for families, there is a reception. And Sunday's schedule is pretty quick and short. Breakfast. Then we'll move out to the different venues, and there will be family hospitality at each of the venues as well. Games Control Center. Will be located in the Minging Room in Unitas Stadium. This will be the main communications throughout the summer games, and is generally staffed from 7 to 9. Those times do vary just a little bit. And this if you're having an overnight emergency, the security staff can contact the Games Control Center, and they have important phone numbers that are listed in the event guide, which hopefully most of you have received via your email this afternoon. In the event you should lose something, it will be taken to the Games Control Center. It will be held for 30 days. After that, the items belong to Special Olympics Maryland. Just a little bit of information on the block party. This is for the delegates, their families, the volunteers, spectators. Please invite them, encourage them to attend. Opening ceremonies will begin at 7:30, and again, the parade will begin forming at 6:30. And I briefly spoke about the Victory Dance and Olympian Park. They have music and games, lots of wonderful things for the athletes. And this year, the theme is sports heroes. Lots of the athletes like to know what that is. They can come as themselves because they are sports heroes themselves. Healthy Athletes, just to briefly touch on this will be at the Towson Center Saturday, starting at 11 a.m. And like I said, there are all types of different professionals there from across the state. There are no fees charged for these screenings for the athletes. Healthy smiles, get their feet checked, have their eyes examined. I actually have had a delegate that has gone through the eye screening and received free glasses. Merchandise will be available at the times listed below at the block party and also on Saturday. This is the 45th anniversary of the Summer Games, so you're definitely going to want to get that merchandise that says that has our 45th anniversary logo on it. Okay, I'm done talking. I will open the phone to all of you for any questions, comments, or concerns. Okay, guys, I didn't do that good of a job, did I?
I have one quick question. This is Allison from Montgomery County.
Hello.
We have teams in 3 different divisions, but I'm specifically interested in the advanced division. One of the things read that coaches are allowed to place athletes in the proper position on the floor, but we cannot be on the floor once the performance begins. I was under the impression that for the advanced division, we were not allowed to place them. Is that correct, or did I read that wrong?
That is incorrect. Every one of our divisions, coaches are allowed to place athletes on the floor.
Oh, wonderful. Okay. Well, I appreciate the clarification.
No additional questions?
I got one to add. In regards to spotters and the assistants that are on the floor also, these people do not necessarily need to be in uniform. We know that they're not going to be in uniform. But one thing that should not be is excessive jewelry on a spotter. We should not be in clothing that limits their abilities or is improper for the task at hand, for them to be spotting. Heels would not be accepted on a spotter. Sunglasses being worn is not accepted. Large dangly earrings or excessive bracelets or, large sharp rings. Please just have your spotters check every spotter to also have that stuff removed for a while they're on the floor.
Alrighty, well, seeing and not hearing any additional questions, again, I'd like to thank all of you for all of your hard work and dedication to our wonderful athletes. And on behalf of the cheerleading competition venue in Special Olympics in Maryland, we look forward to seeing you on Friday and having a very successful and wonderful game.